And now, broadcasting live from the Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle Studios. This is On the Mark when on the mic with Mark Saxton.
First and foremost, obviously watching this now, being a 90s kid, I might be a little biased, but I loved how 90s this movie was. I loved seeing all the old computers and printers and phones, and that was funny to me in itself. I loved it. It was a great movie.
And Michael Spillin.
The Indiana Fever almost can't catch a break while they're still maintaining kind of good basketball on the floor. They just can't catch a break when it comes to the injury bug. They say Caitlin Clark is making progress, still not even like full participant at practice with the groin injury. Honestly, with 14 games left, why even push it? You might as well just sit the rest of the 14 games and get her ready for the playoffs.
Now, On the Mark when on the mic is on.
And welcome into Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Back with you, shifting things around on you here on a Wednesday evening. Lots to get into this evening as the WNBA playoffs are in full swing. The NFL season is in full swing. MLB division battles are wrapping up, and just a whole lot to get into. We'll dive into what are we watching here in just a quick second. And then second half of the show, as you know, we will get into the wheel review, spin the wheel of mayhem, and we will discuss our watching assignments from last week. You could tell by the title of the episode what we had to watch last week. So we will get into that second half of the show. And our NFL guy, Nick Fergson, set to join us here in about 10 minutes to discuss all things gridiron as – Wednesday evening. Mark, how the heck are you?
I'm good. Glad to be back at it. These Wednesdays, they're starting to have a special place in my heart. How about you?
It's weird. It's hump day, and it's just a shift. Not sure what will happen in the future, but we will obviously keep you notified via social media. Speaking of, don't forget to go to all of our social medias. Facebook, X, Instagram, go on there. You can follow all of us on Instagram, X, at 5280 Sports Life. I'm at Michael Spillin. Mark has yet to join the fun on X. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, at 5280 Sports Radio. Leave a comment or text us since we are live. 720-375-2341 is the number. Also, if you have any questions for Nick coming up, make sure you get that in. This and many pods on the network brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cards on, again, a Wednesday evening. And if you've flown Southwest recently, Mark, going out, the out flight was good, but the coming back flight was absolutely terrible. Sat on the tarmac for 20 minutes, and everybody was like, why even board us if we're just going to sit here? And then the turbulence was too strong, Mark. So we weren't even served any peanuts or drinks. So, and then as people were leaving the plane, this one guy was like, good thing I wasn't thirsty. Like right when you know how like you walk out and the flight attendant standing right there saying thank you. Literally, this guy was like, thank God I wasn't thirsty on this flight.
I've never been on a plane. I've never been on a plane before.
Well, then you don't know. But it was it was kind of weird to not get the complimentary peanuts and or whatever drink you get. And then the Wi-Fi went out for like an hour, and that thing's $8 to buy the Wi-Fi. So it was a challenging flight back, to say the least.
Sounds like a rough go there. Did you at least have AC?
Yeah, I mean, I think planes are like usually cold in general. Like a lot of people wear like hoodies and sweats and stuff like that. But yeah, that stuff was working. But the turbulence was too strong for our safety and the flight attendants. They could not walk about the cabin to serve us our peanuts and water. So that happened.
Tough job.
Yeah, so they basically worked for free that flight. So congrats to the Southwest attendants on the flight 290. I think it was like 2983 on the way back from Midway, Chicago yesterday. And also the flight took like 50 minutes longer than it should have. So because of the inclement weather, took a sharp right into Wyoming and then flipped a bitch and headed back down to Denver. So it was a weird flight path if you looked at the map, but regardless, it was returned safely, which I guess is all that matters.
Yeah, I was gonna say all that matters is that you're back here with us and 2 feet on the ground and being able to talk on this beautiful Wednesday, because that sounds rugged.
In the words of Baker Mayfield, 10 toes down.
Let's go.
10 toes down. 10 toes down. Don't forget, Nick Fergson will be joining us here in just a couple minutes. But let's dive into what are we watching, Mark. Obviously, it is straight heat in the WNBA playoffs right now. Most series are shifting to Game 2. Seattle Storm kept their season alive last night against the Las Vegas Aces, snapped their 17-game winning streak, and Storm keep that series alive. See, last year it was different, Mark. Last year you played the first 2 games. First series is a best of 3. Let's get that out of the way first.
Right.
And so if the first team to win 2 wins the series. And last year, though, the home team got 2 games at home, and then it shifted back to the away teams. This year they're doing 1-1-1. So the home team, the higher seed gets the first home game, and then it shifts back to the lower seed, and then it shifts back to the higher seed. So the Storm were able to get their home win last night. Also, the Indiana Fever came out firing last night against the Atlanta Dream, and the Atlanta Dream basically demolished all of Game 1 as they took Game 1. Fever got Game 2. So both those series are shifting back to the higher seeds home ground. So it'll go back to Vegas and then back to Atlanta tomorrow night for Game 3. So it's win or go home tomorrow for those 2 series. Excited to see Minnesota and Golden State tonight. We will see what happens in that series. And all intents and purposes say that Minnesota will sweep this series, but you never know. I mean, I love how they call where Golden State plays Ball Halla, because they are the Valkyries,
Right.
And so they've sold out every home game this year. First expansion team to make the playoffs, so it's been an exciting season for the Bay when it comes to women's basketball. That game is tonight, and then Phoenix looks to keep their series alive against New York. New York got a win on the road. They were the only road team to get a win in the first game. So Phoenix will look to keep their season alive in New York. That game kicks off in just about 20 minutes. So and
did that one go into OT last time around in Game 1?
I want to say it did. So
it was definitely a fight. I mean, it was if I remember correctly, because I got to flip in on it the last second. But it was a fight.
It was a close game. That was probably the closest game in the first games of these playoffs. 76-69. Vegas creamed Seattle Game 1, 102-77. Atlanta, they won by 12, 80-68 in Game 1. Indiana returned the favor, won by 17 yesterday. And Seattle was very close yesterday. They escaped with an 86-83 victory over Vegas. So, again, all those series shifting back to the opposite cities. And then also a couple awards were handing out over the last couple of days. And Burton from Golden State wins the Most Improved Player Award in the WNBA. So congrats to her. She's had a very up and down journey when it comes to her basketball career. And that is Veronica Burton of the Golden State Valkyries. Just career highs in every statistical category. Just 13 points per game this year as opposed to just over 3 points per game last year. She was drafted by Dallas, waived, picked up by Connecticut last year, and then was picked up by Golden State in the expansion draft. And then, of course, your girl, Paige Beckers, wins the unanimous Rookie of the Year. And I guess you could say who else would have won it. I didn't see the total votes, so I don't know if it was actually unanimous. But I would hope that Sonia Citron and Kiki got some votes, if any. But obviously, Paige Beckers, I would assume, ran away with this thing. But she does win the so she goes from national championship to Rookie of the Year. I guess the trifecta would have been making the playoffs, but unfortunately, she's sitting at home watching the playoffs.
Yeah, and not that I'm a Paige hater by any means. I mean, it's been some rough talks around her for sure. But yeah, I was really hoping that Kiki would get a whole lot more love coming out of the gate. But it just seemed like the league and everybody had their minds made up as soon as Beckers won that natty, huh?
I guess, but I mean, she was fifth in the league in scoring. So you got to give that to her. She averaged just over 19 points per game this year, just over 5 assists this year. So, I mean, she did rack up the numbers. Unfortunately, her team wasn't very good. So that was the downfall for Paige Beckers. But congrats to those two players for winning those awards. All signs are pointing towards the Valkyries head coach winning Coach of the Year in her first season. I mean, Natalie Nakase, by the way, again, just unmarked territory for an expansion team making the playoffs. So she's probably going to win Coach of the Year. It hasn't been officially announced yet, so we will see. I think Stephanie White's got to get some love for Indiana for how many injuries that they've endured and then make the 6th seed. I don't know if that's a detriment, honestly, on Caitlin Clark, because, I mean, to make the playoffs without her and as a 6th seed and to capture the most wins in franchise history and to get their first playoff win in Indiana since 2016, pretty remarkable to do without some of your best players.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what CC missed, like 15, 17 games. I mean, that's a huge chunk of games in these short seasons. So absolutely, she better get some love. And that's not counting. And that's not counting like all of the media crap around CC, and around just the team in general that they've been having to deal with, and then of course just flat out getting bullied on the floor. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but that's still my take.
Exactly. All right, Mark. What you got on your watch list?
Hey, I'm gonna stick with the MLB. Always good fun. A couple of teams clinched over the weekend and during the week. But what I want to talk about kind of is the Cubs. I mean, I've been talking about the Cubs just playing decent ball all year, and they've been able to clinch a playoff berth, hanging in a tough division with the Brew Crew, who kind of took off, and 88-64 for the Cubs. Anywhere else, besides the Phillies, I guess, but anywhere else, they'd be in first place. You know what I mean? Just great record. I think so. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. So their own division, the American League East and the Phillies are the only ones that are better than them. So playing hot ball, getting hot at the right time, I think that's going to be exciting, especially going in as a wild card and, having to face either the Padres or the Dodgers, and then right behind them, the Mets. So I think this is going to be fun. Strap in. And, dude, this is only the beginning. That's what I love about this time of year for baseball. Everybody's still fighting for a spot. And in some of these situations, like, having to play the Cubs, is that really an award to, be top of the division, then have to play a team like the Cubs, or, sneak in to win the division, like if you're the Padres or the Dodgers, and then having to play a team like the Cubs in a wild card, if they end up winning and going by and all that stuff. So, best time of year for baseball. Can't wait.
Yeah, and apparently I was bad luck because I went to a Cubs game at Wrigley on Saturday, and they lost to the Tampa Bay Rays.
Ouch.
And they had first and third no outs in the ninth, and they ended up losing that game because you don't run when the ball's in front of you if you're on third base. So I forgot who was on third, and he ran on a ground ball. Catcher tagged him, and all was downhill from there. But it was cool because Anthony Rizzo retired on that day. And this one dude, I couldn't even pronounce his name or remember his name, to be honest with you, but it was his first major league home run. He hit it to left center pretty much. Of all places he could hit right off the hands of Anthony Rizzo sitting in the bleachers. And yeah, of all places he could hit it. So that was pretty crazy and pretty cool. But yeah, Cubs ended up losing that game. But they did clinch today, like you mentioned, as a wild card. So yeah, a lot of division battles wrapping up, like you mentioned, Phillies. So we will see what happens come the next couple of weeks. So, like you said, exciting time for some people, but yeah, it is that time of year though.
It might not have been the Rockies' couple of decades, but who knows going forward, huh?
Yeah, couple of couple 100 years. There you go. All right, what I'm watching again, this has to do with some of the people dialed into the network here. I don't know what's going on with fantasy football. I thought when I drafted my team that I had a pretty good squad, Mark, going forward. I mean, Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Evan Ingram hasn't done jack squat for the Denver Broncos. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe that'll be a question for Nick when he hops on here in a few minutes. He's listed as questionable now. I got smoked. I don't really know what's going on. I don't really know, to be honest, like what to do. There's really no players to pick up. Maybe I just had to change my name because my name was the same as it was last year when I have Calvin Ridley. But I don't know. I got demolished, though, in week 2.
Hey, keep your head up. You're playing me this week, so it's going to be a good bounce-back game. Good tune-up game for you. I mean, I've been hanging in there, but honestly, my 2 wins come from a couple of players just coming up big late in games. So, I'm happy to be 2-0, but I don't know if I'm the real deal or not yet. I got to wait for players that have consistency.
All right. Well, we are watching the NFL as well as we bring in our football guy, Nick Fergson, to the pod, former NFL defensive back. And Nick joins us right now as I get the right screen on. There we go. Nick, it is Wednesday. How the heck are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing a lot better than some of those 0-2 teams. And I am kind of 0-2 in my fantasy league because a couple of my players got injured, or in my case, Burrow gets injured. Evan Ingram doesn't get involved at all. And Cortland Sutton got like 2 targets. So,
yeah. Well, let me ask you right off the bat, because I have Evan Ingram as well. Obviously plays for the Denver Broncos now. And, I mean, what are you seeing? Why are they not? I guess the big question is, why are they not using him? Is he doing other things on the field that we're just not seeing, as maybe, blocking or whatever the case may be? Or is he injured? Because we saw him get banged up a little bit in week 1. What is the case for Evan Ingram and this Broncos offense?
Hold on, man. Let me tell you this. Everyone is injured, right? To some degree. So to say, well, a guy is injured and that's the reason why he's not being involved, to me, I don't know if I subscribe to that, especially knowing as though I was a player that played both injured and hurt, and especially knowing as though so much hype was built around this offseason acquisitions for the Denver Broncos. Remember, all the media people and even the head coach called him the Joker, right? That's what we were told. Like, we don't know if he's the Heath Ledger Joker or another type Joker because we haven't really seen him at all. So it's the idea of finding a way to utilize that your guys like Luke Musgrave, right? You look at the Green Bay Packers, they're using their tight ends, right?
Absolutely.
Like Trey McBride down in Arizona, he led their offense last season in receiving yards. And guess what? He's doing the same thing this season. So for me, I don't know what it is. I can't call it. I don't know if there's issues inside the building, but we just can't say that Evan Ingram is hurt. He got hurt in the 3rd quarter of the Titans game. He went out. He was ruled in for this particular game when they didn't know he was going to be able to play because early in the week it was questionable. Game time, he's ready to go. And, oh, by the way, I must add this. We were told that, hey, listen, we're going to take advantage of the matchups with Evan Ingram this week against the Colts. I didn't see it. I saw Tyler Warren, right? But I didn't see Evan Ingram. So right now, as it stands, I don't know what the deal is, but Evan Ingram has been placed on the milk carton.
Yeah, nowhere to be found so far through 2 weeks of the season. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, I kind of I'm going to switch it up a little bit because I wanted to get your take. I watched the whole game and I was excited for you. Georgia Tech taking it to Clemson. Dude, what a game. Their defense did it. And then obviously the kick at the end was never a doubt. Was never a doubt, they say. Walk me through it.
Well, I mean, I know you say it was never a doubt, but it was some scary moments, man. Every game had scary moments. The Broncos came down to a field goal. We can get into that if you guys want to, but definitely scary moments because you never know if a kick is actually going to go through. Like we seen chip shots. Like Will Lutz for the Broncos had a chip shot against the Colts. What did it do? It looked like my golf swing. It just went wide right and boom, right off the goalpost, right? So with the game at Georgia Tech, man, it was great. Tech hadn't beat Clemson in a while, and Clemson was ranked number 12th in the country, right? So it was a huge win for Brent Key and the Yellow Jackets. But once again, what I saw in that game, it was Haynes King. When in doubt, to give the ball and put the ball in Haynes King's hands. He's not just a mobile quarterback where you have designed QB runs. He was a guy that showed that he can drop the ball in the bucket and drop it softly, not just rocketing the ball at a guy who's like 5 yards away, but he showed a little touch. And what we're seeing every single week from Haynes King, his draft profile is actually building up because people are able to see that there's some versatility with him. But here's the biggest thing. That dude is tough. I mean, if you're running a lot of QB designs, runs, you're putting your quarterback in harm's way. But he's showing, man, he can run guys over. He can take a shot and he can get back up.
Yeah, and that run game that Keene brought, I mean, over 100 yards I think he got, and throwing for over 200 in the air. That was good. And then, like I said, the defense came up with some key stops when they needed towards the end of the game. And that's why I kind of laughed when the coach was like, never a doubt, never a doubt. I was like, I was down the whole time. I was watching the TV like, oh no.
Yeah, but that's what you do. But that's what you do as a coach, right? It's almost like being a parent. You always have to have this united front that things are better than what they truly are because you don't want the kids to know. It's the same thing with as a coach. You're not sure. You're hopeful, right? You're hopeful, but you're not sure. And as though Bill Parcells once told me, hope is not a strategy.
That's fair.
Exactly. Shifting back to kickers really quick. We saw Atlanta's kicker miss a field goal, get benched. They bring in a new kicker. He goes 6 for 6. You mentioned Will Lutz somehow shanked a field goal really bad on an indoor stadium with no wind, which is pretty bad. But take me inside. Obviously, that call maybe shouldn't have never came to that, the leveraging call. But what did you see on that play? And I know you posted on social media, but kind of explain why it was called. And there was some other videos of maybe Indianapolis doing the same thing, but wasn't called.
Okay, so for me, I don't like to live in a very biased atmosphere. I like to look at things in a very unbiased way because, I mean, in the business that we're in, to me, I can't just be roped into one team. And I got to look at things fair. And the members of Broncos country, they didn't want to hear the truth. But it was true because the argument was, well, that call is rarely made by the official. And I really don't care when the call is that you're just saying that is rarely made. Is there a violation? The rule specifically says that you can't use any part of your body to gain some kind of leverage type of advantage. And people say, well, the guy didn't put his hands on him. And I'm like, if you go back and you look, there's a couple of things I want you guys to look at. There's an official that's behind the defense. And you know what he's doing? He's looking. He's actually leaning his head in so he can actually see over the center to make sure that there's no contact. The other thing that was problematic. The Broncos defender touched the center, grabbed him, and started to pull him down by his jersey, almost like to slingshot his teammate up to block the ball. Now, fans don't want to hear that, but it is the truth. If you're honest with yourself and you're honest with your eyes, that's the case. So let's also talk about the other elephant in the room. Well, why are we even talking about that situation? Because it should have never come to that in the first place. And here's why. Because when you look at the game within itself, 29-28, everyone reflects on the field goal. In the second quarter, both the Colts and the Broncos offensively, that's when they hit their stride because both teams had 14 points. If you look at the first quarter, the Broncos defense gave up 6. The third quarter, they gave up 3. In the fourth quarter, they gave up 6. How many points did the Broncos offense score in the second half? Do you know? They scored 7 points in 2 quarters.
Ouch.
So the game should have never come down to that field goal, but it did. Now, we could talk about the Will Lutz miss. I don't blame the game on a Will Lutz miss because there were multiple opportunities, but it is something that happened in the game, so we have to talk about it. You don't want to miss a kick like that. Like you said, Mike, no wind, on turf, and the roof was closed. So what was it that caused that? Was it the snap? Was it the hold? Was it the whole execution? So once again, these are fundamental issues that I'm pointing out. So don't kill the messenger, because if you watch the game with an objective eye, you will see that these things were prevalent. Now, when we talk about the game further, the idea is that, well, and I've heard this, Vance Joseph got out-coached by Shane Steichen. And I will have you to go watch the game again. And here's why. If you watch every single pass that Daniel Jones threw on Sunday, and you were to freeze it right before he threw the ball, you're going to see maybe 1 to 2 Broncos defenders almost a split second away from disrupting the pass, right? But Shane Steichen had a great game plan. I can't fault him for that. You know you're playing against a vaulted defense. So we can't allow them to get to your quarterback. So we need you, Daniel Jones, to get the ball out of your hand like it's a hot potato, right? So Vance Joseph wasn't out-coached. The idea is that Daniel Jones did a great job executing where the Broncos defense did not. I'll give you another tidbit. I put this up on social media at Nick Fergson _25. The first explosive play by Jonathan Taylor. Why did it happen? It didn't happen because the scheme was lacking. No, there was no communication. You're playing in man coverage. You have to align to cover your guy. And Alex Singleton ran into, I think, Brandon Jones, and then there was a dump off to Jonathan Taylor, and then now he is racing up the sideline. Was that because the play caller was bad? No. Communication, aligning to win, and then now executing.
Yeah, and you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was going to be my next question, kind of shifting it over to the running game. I see kind of the same kind of difficulties on that offensive line. I mean, you got 2 pretty darn good backs, in Denver, and Dobbins only 76 yards leading the rushing core. Can you walk us through some of that?
Well, here's the thing that I would say. I was really happy about the run game, even though Dobbins didn't go over 100 yards. But just think about how the game started and ended last week playing against the Titans, opposed to how it started this week against the Colts, right? Because what did the Broncos do, which sometimes they don't do a large amount of time, is play with Bo under center. So if Bo is under center, now it opens play action. So when your quarterback is in the shotgun defensively, I can tell you, we're not thinking about run plays. The only thing you can do is an RPO and possibly a screen. So we just rally and stop that. So the Broncos started out under center, and they ran the ball on the first play. Now, even though Dobbins didn't, once again, go over 100 yards, it was effective because it put the defense on their heels. They didn't know if the Broncos were going to run it or they were going to pass it. Now, the only thing is if the Broncos can be more efficient at the times when they run the ball, it works out well. Because think about this. I think it was in the fourth quarter, right? The Broncos line up to run. It is sort of like maybe an inside zone play. Dobbins gets lost behind the offensive line. He breaks it off to the left. He gets down the field. The defensive guy from the Colts is kind of wrapped around his legs. He stands up, and what does he do? He grabs the ball and he throws it on the ground, right? Penalty.
Yep.
Now he's moved back. The next ensuing play, they try to run somewhat of a toss. That play doesn't go anywhere, but even worse, there's a holding call, like a holding face mask call on the tight end. Guess what? Now you're moving back any further, right? So once again, every time the Broncos try to establish something in the fourth quarter, they hurt themselves. So, I mean, there's a case to be made that maybe Dobbins would have had more yards ending the game than he actually did if those penalties didn't take place.
Yeah, exactly. So we will see what adjustments come up here in a couple of weeks. Looking at some of the other games around the league last week, obviously you mentioned Joe Burrow when you first joined us goes down out now for 3 months. The Bengals able to hang on against Jacksonville. They're going with the backup. A lot of people are saying free Jameis out there in Giants land. I saw one post that says Jameis is a third string quarterback in New York and he would throw for 5,000 yards in Cincinnati, which I need because I do have T. Higgins on my fantasy team. But and now Jaden Daniels kind of banged up for the Commanders. He might miss a little bit of time. We saw the 49ers lose their quarterback, but they were able to hang on against the Saints. Now we're starting to see quarterbacks kind of go down for their teams. What is Cincinnati looking at here without a Joe Burrow? And it seems like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins were already kind of not struggling to get the ball, but we're not used to seeing them, with the low numbers. I know it's weird to say that, but what is Cincinnati on the verge of breaking into here?
Well, it's a much larger word that I can't say, but I'll give you the first letter and I'll give you the last letter. The first letter starts with the F. The last letter of the word starts with a K. That's where they are right now. They're screwed, right? Now, can Jake Browning come in and win them some games? Absolutely. Can he get them to the playoffs? Absolutely not. So right now, when you look at Zach Taylor, they're in a situation. They're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do we get out of this predicament that we're in? And now if you are the GM, they're looking around the league. They're saying, okay, well, what teams have veteran quarterbacks that maybe we can trade for? And we don't want to give up too much trade capital, but we want to see maybe they take a 5th rounder, a 7th rounder. Maybe, being the Giants, being who they are, known as though their future is Jackson Dart. And Russell didn't really play that bad against the Dallas Cowboys, but you have to take a look at Jameis Winston and say, well, he's won some games in the league before. Now, the only thing that is a concern with Jameis Winston, and remember, Jameis Winston famously said when he was a member of the Cleveland Browns, right? And this is me paraphrasing, Lord, please deliver me from pick sixes, right? So, so when you're praying to the heavenly skies to deliver you from pick sixes, that's the one thing you have to concern yourself with. But he would be in the best situation he's ever been in his career. You have Mike Gesicki, you have Chase Brown, you have Noah Fant as your other tight end, you have Higgins, you have Jamar Chase. He would be set up perfectly to help this team get to a playoff game because he's quite familiar with the division, being as though he's been with the Cleveland Browns. But I will have you guys, consider this. And I've said this, and people thought that, man, you're out of your mind. Because when we think about football, we say the most important, and I'll ask you guys, you tell me, take your time. Which guy is the most important player on the NFL roster? Which guy?
Have to be the GM.
Well, let's talk player standpoint. Which player, right, positional player is the most important? What you got?
I almost feel like this is a trick question, but
yeah, same. I'm going to say running back.
Okay, Mike.
Live and die with the run game.
I gotta say quarterback.
Okay, so Mike, you are absolutely right. But let's take that a step further because most people think it's the starting quarterback. No, it is not. It is your backup quarterback. You know why? Because that backup doesn't become important until that starter goes down. So you mentioned Jaden Daniels, right? So Marcus Mariota is going to have to come in. And think about, the fact that Mac Jones came in for, Brock Purdy, right? And that's a guy that the 49ers were high on, right, when he came out of the draft from Alabama. That's kind of the guy that Kyle Shanahan really wanted, right? And you just kind of look around the league and some of the guys who are getting banged up. But once that starting quarterback goes down, everything falls on the shoulders of that backup quarterback. And if there is no belief that that backup quarterback can go in up and win you some games, I'm not just talking about coming in and spot duty and everyone being happy about what he's able to do. No, can he win you some football games? And if you can't say that, you are effed and caged, right? So when you look at the Broncos situation, if something were to happen to Bo Nix, guess what? I mean, it doesn't look pretty, right? But Jarrett Stidham is your guy, right? This is the world he lives in as a backup quarterback. He can come in and he can help the team win football games. Look, if Jordan Love, knock on wood, because I'm starting him this Sunday, if something were to happen to him, where do the Packers go from there? So that backup quarterback is more valuable than most people thought.
And Malik didn't look bad the first couple of weeks last year, but
no, he didn't.
You know, it takes a lot more, like you said. It goes way more into just a couple of games. You got to consistently be able to win, and winning in that league is the hardest thing.
Fans don't understand it. Like Broncos fans, just like other fans, I mean, sometimes they can be out of their minds, and they think the Broncos defense, they're supposed to stop everything. No one's supposed to score at all. And I'm like, you do know the 85 Bears, people scored points. The 2001 Baltimore Ravens, they actually scored points on them. It wasn't at a high level, but they scored points. And this is the problem, once again, you know, with fandom. Now, you know, Malik, once again, to your credit, he did a great job coming in. I still think the kid has a lot of ability. He just needs to be in the right system with someone that actually is trying to help him grow as a player. And I think he's in the right place with Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers.
Same. I got one more for you. So I kind of touching on it. I was talking about it with a couple of buddies. I think the Chiefs offense, I mean, the Chiefs defense were there. They did their job. As far as holding an Eagles team to 20 points, that's a winnable game. I think the Chiefs offense has been figured out and played out. Not that they're scrubs or anything like that, but I think that playbook has been played out. What do you think?
I don't think the playbook has been played out because I give Andy Reid a lot of credit. He is a smart guy. I think what we're seeing is happening with the Chiefs is that where they were really dominant from an offensive standpoint, they're not as dominant because they don't have that personnel. And I'll tell you this, one person who would give his pinky toe to go back to Kansas City is Tyreek Hill, right? And they would love to have him back, but with Rashid Rice out, with Xavier Worthy being injured, and Travis Kelce, I mean, he just can't wait to get out of football, right? So with those things facing the Kansas City Chiefs offense, it's become real difficult because Patrick Mahomes is used to moving around, improvising, finding an open target, and that target is Travis Kelce, but that chemistry doesn't look the same because Travis can't separate, right? And it happens to us all, man. As they say, Father Time is undefeated, and he comes for us all. And right now, that's what Travis is experiencing because he can't separate the way that he used to and provide those options. And now also, here's the other part. Where is the Chiefs' run game, right? It's non-existent. And if you can't run the ball, I don't care if you're Joe Montana, right? I think it's Joe Montana. Yes. Not Montana, but Montana.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, man, if you don't have a run game, it's going to make life really difficult for you. And that's what is happening with Mahomes. And you can see the frustration on his face, man. He's just so upset that they can't get things going. And just think about it. Jalen Hurts would have now outplayed you, I don't know, maybe 3 times, right? The first time, he should have been the clear MVP, but his team lost. The second time he played you, his team blew you out in the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. Now they're playing you at home, albeit you didn't score over 20 points, but he still beat you, right? He still beat you. So, I mean, Jalen Hurts can walk around with his chest out. Patrick Mahomes, not so much right now.
Yeah. Nick, we one more thing before we let you run. Any matchups you're keeping an eye on for week 3? Any of the national league TV games? You got a a pretty good one on Monday night. Detroit just destroyed the Chicago Bears last week. Ravens, both those teams 1-1. Sunday night, I mean, both Giants and Chiefs 0-2. Kind of an intriguing Sunday night game. Tomorrow night will be interesting as well with the 2-0 Bills and the mess that is the Miami Dolphins. But any particular matchup you're keeping an eye on for next week?
Well, that Monday night game against Detroit and Baltimore, they're both 1-1. That's going to be really interesting. The Rams versus the Eagles, the reason that game is a big game because you remember last season, to end the season, the Rams looked like they were going to overtake Philadelphia. And then they just had some mishaps down the stretch, and then Philadelphia beat them. And I'm sure Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, they're disappointed about that particular game. So that is definitely one you wanted to watch because, once again, even though it's early in the season, you got to think long term. You got to think big picture, right? Positioning for the playoffs. No longer do we have two teams with a first round bye. It's only one team, right? So if the Rams can beat Philadelphia, now they have the edge on them. Now, here's another game, by the way, that I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure you are too, Mike. The Chargers, Broncos, right? Now, obviously, the Broncos are 1-1. Some people would say, well, the Broncos should be 0-2. That's besides the point. But here's where the rubber meets the road. Remember, we're thinking long-term, big picture. If you are a Chargers fan, you're like, yo, you know what? We can take care of business and set ourselves up towards the back half of the season. Here's why. The Chargers started off with Kansas City in Brazil, beat them. They went on the road to Allegiant Stadium and beat the Raiders. So if you beat the Broncos, guess what? That's 3 divisional teams that you would have beaten in consecutive weeks. That does a lot for a team's confidence, but it also sets the Chargers up to host a home playoff game.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And Mark thinks the Chargers will beat the Broncos. So,
yeah, that's my dad. That's my dad commenting on that.
Well, as we've seen, anything can happen, and the Chargers are playing with a lot of confidence because think about this: you have Quentin Johnston, now you have Keenan Allen back, who I think is one hell of a receiver and he's highly underrated. Then you got Lamb McConkey, right? Because now you start thinking matchups. Now, how many guys are going to beat Pat Surtain? Not many. You're not going to beat him vertically, so you're going to see a lot of crossing patterns to beat him. Now, what we saw last week was Riley Moss gave him an explosive, right? So you have to figure that the Chargers are going to try to create those matchups to try to get maybe Lamb McConkey or a Keenan Allen or a Johnston on Riley Moss. That's their course of action, and that's how they're going to plan to possibly attack the Broncos. But it's going to be a good game nonetheless.
Yeah,
real quick, I just got to touch on that with the Chargers moving Derwin James in a linebacker spot. Doesn't that could cause some havoc in those crossing routes? Can it? I mean, he can move and he can hit.
Well, it all depends now because it all depends on scheme. Now, he's a very athletic guy. He's very aggressive, putting him close to the line of scrimmage. You use his speed to kind of blitz. Now, the downside of it is, does he understand run fits? Now, you can be a physical guy. You can be fast and quick. But if you don't know how to put yourself in the right position, that can be problematic because he's used to being aggressive, right? So what happens with aggressive players, soon as you see ball, you go get ball, and now we cut you off. Now the guards block you. So now you can't get over and make a play on the ball. But you bring up something that's really important, especially for any team that runs man coverage. If you have a Derwin James or a linebacker and that guy's coverage is in the backfield, he can hold off and wait and take away any of those short intermediate routes. But once again, if he gets those cartoon eyes, starts seeing too much, right? Now he's jumping in the backfield, and now the Broncos have a way to kind of maneuver. So that's going to be a guy I would tell fans, make sure you watch and see how Derwin James is being attacked and how he's defending the Broncos offense.
Yeah, like you mentioned, huge divisional game, especially for the Chargers. They could start the season 3-0 in the AFC West. Nick, we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us. And, I mean, we love the football insight, so thanks so much.
Appreciate it, guys. Anytime. You guys be good.
All right.
Thanks, Nick. Have a good week.
All right. There you go, Nick Fergson, former NFL defensive back. Once again, you can follow him on X at Nick Fergson _25, and he posts a lot of good stuff on there as well. And yeah, and I was going to mention this. Shout out to Carson Wentz. J.J. McCarthy goes down for the Minnesota Vikings. Shout out to Carson Wentz, the first player in NFL history to start a game for his sixth team in 6 years. So congrats to Carson Wentz, once a former franchise quarterback, Mark, now on his sixth team in 6 years and getting the start.
You know, and he's got kind of like an Alex Smith history, had a couple of big injuries, kind of keeping him from some big games. Obviously, that Super Bowl where they beat Tom Brady, Nick Foles going in there and being an absolute hero. But no, I love Carson Wentz, and I'm happy for him. I think he's just been snake bitten. So, I mean, not that I want to see anybody else go down, but, you know, good for him.
Yeah, so we will see with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, 2 years in a row, they see their, I guess, promised golden boy go down. This one's not as serious, obviously, as last year where he tore his ACL, but this year he goes down, so he will miss, I think they said a couple weeks, not sure 100% on that, but we will find out soon how strong, and as Nick mentioned, how strong the backup quarterbacks are. So I thought it was going to be a trick question like left guard or left tackle or something like that. But a lot of these quarterbacks are almost like non-contact injuries, or an offensive lineman falling backward on a guy or something crazy.
Yeah, and well, I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. I mean, with his ankle and his knee the last couple of weeks, and both of them, like you said, trying to make agile movements in tight areas and in tight quarters, and then you got those 500-pound guys that can run a 4.4 trying to track you down at the same time. So, a lot of those no contact injuries can really mess you up.
Exactly. So we will find out what week 3 brings on in the NFL. Obviously, that is going to be on both of our watching lists. Anything on your not watching list before we move on to our entertainment portion?
I do. I have just one, at least one that popped out to me. And this goes out to all the sensitive Sallys out there, I guess. Bagging on Kyler Murray for wearing a Vic jersey while taking a photo with his American Bulldogs. He's got 2 American Bulldogs. And they said that it was distasteful and insensitive as he was wearing Michael Vick's college jersey, that is, ahead of Sunday's win. Why? That doesn't make sense to me. Why we're bagging on this guy? Why the league forced him to apologize? You can't take a picture now. You can't. you gotta. I guess proofread a picture before you post it. I don't like it. Not a fan of it. He wasn't making any jokes with it. In retrospect, hindsight's 2020. We could have picked a different shirt, but I don't think he was doing it for that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that the league or whoever says, read the room, bro. Like, you do realize Michael Vick went to prison for fighting dogs, right? Like, right. So I guess you could see kind of both sides of it. If I were to play devil's advocate, like, bro, like, why are you wearing a Michael Vick jersey with a dog that looks very similar to a pit bull? But yeah, like you said, the sensitivity has just gone through the roof. And I looked at it and I was like, cool. And my care level was probably in the negatives. So
right. Now, if he would have made a pun or a distasteful joke wearing that shirt, all right, hey, what's fair is fair. But I don't know. I didn't appreciate the hate that he was getting over it.
In the words of Craig Robinson, who played Daryl in The Office, Vic did his time. So
That's right.
So, there you go. I don't really have much on my not watching list, Mark. There's really not much there. So I'm not even going to try to even throw something on there. Obviously, the watching list is full. I mean, like we mentioned, baseball playoffs coming here soon, NFL in full swing, WNBA playoffs, going to be an exciting run to the championship there. So, yeah, all those are on the watching list. But yeah, not much for the not watching list. So, I guess we can stroll on to our entertainment portion of the podcast. And last week, Mark was assigned The Incredibles, the first one. So he did watch The Incredibles. I had to watch the first Iron Man. So I guess when it lands on a movie franchise that has sequels or whatever, I guess we're just going to do co-host pick, which will probably normally just start with the first one, I guess. So
makes sense.
That's where we are. So The Incredibles, tell us about it. Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers ahead. I mean, both of these movies probably came out in 2008. So if you haven't seen it, shame on you.
Right, and I don't want to hear nothing about complaints of spoilers. You better watch The Incredibles. No, great film, great cartoon family movie. Takes place in what appears to be like the 50s in a city, and the team does their best capturing how it is to be a superhero as they follow Mr. Incredible around the city, who just going around saving everybody, saving cats and trees, and stopping bank robberies. And then there's this little boy who wants to be Incredible. He wants to be Mr. Incredible's sidekick, and obviously Mr. Incredible, not wanting him to get in any danger, who, in all fairness, he didn't convey that part very well. He just said, "Go away." As he's in the middle of trying to stop a bank robbery, this kid comes in there with his jet boots and kind of disrupts the whole everything. And then Bomb Voyage, as they call him, the guy who set bombs to rob the bank, was able to get away. And in the midst of this, Mr. Incredible saves somebody who tries to jump off that building to commit suicide, and saves his life. At the end of all this, he goes to get married to Elastigirl. And then the city wasn't too happy with him. The citizens said, "I didn't want to be saved," so they sued him. And then after that came a slew of lawsuits, if you will, against superheroes. So then the cast, they do a real job of capturing what it's like to be superheroes in hiding, and the family, the everyday struggles, as now Mr. Incredible has a life-draining job in an office where the kids are unhappy because they're not able to be themselves. And obviously the wife has to deal with all of these problems on top of being a mom. And Mr. Incredible is still doing his thing. He's being a superhero where nobody knows, so he's stopping crime and being anonymous, even more anonymous than wearing a mask, I guess. And gets a job offer, takes the job offer, goes and sees Edna, gets a brand new cool suit, badass suit that helps him be more incredible, if you will. And they go to this deserted island where he is given a job, which turns out to be, spoiler, a whole setup for Incrediboy, who ends up being, I just drew a blank on his name, a sensible, what's his name? Dang it. The villain. Anyways, the villain comes in, sets him up, captures Mr. Incredible, drawing Elastigirl to come out of retirement. They give her a bunch of cool new gear. She goes and sees Edna. She ends up getting captured, so now it's up to the kids. And the kids do their thing. They go and see Edna. They get their cool new suits. Dash, the son, can run like, I guess, he's the Flash. And then you got Violet, who's, she can make herself invisible and have a force field. So they go in, they try and save the parents. They get to the parents, everybody breaks out. And then the main villain sets his machines out on the city. So they have to work as a family. And then don't forget, Frozone comes out. and helps out the cause, and he gets his cool new suit as well. And they beat the machines, where at the very end of the movie, the main villain tries to steal the baby Jack, who up to this point we all knew had no powers. But then when he's being stolen, he turns into like this demon goblin thing and like escapes. They were able to foil his plan yet again, and Mr. Incredible ends it by throwing a car at the jet and blowing it up and killing the bad guys. He goes into the jet engine, and that was that. And then, you know, Dan he goes and wins the he goes in second place in the track meet, because they told him to win, but not like win by a lot, but then lose, but not by a whole lot either. It was a little confusing, but he figured it out to settle it in for the silver.
Yeah, if I had his speed, I'd win every race.
I wouldn't even make it look close. I would try and rub it in their faces, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Grade for this movie? Are you recommending this movie?
Absolutely. Grade, I'm giving it an A-, because, you know, a lot of it was predictable, being that it is a child's movie, but still fun.
Yeah, and the little boy at the beginning of the movie turned out to be the villain, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the same guy. He
Yeah.
went from Incredible to... That's
He actually-
gonna drive me nuts.
Yeah, he actually died a pretty brutal death there at the end, like you mentioned. You know, not too many family cartoons show a dude just flying into a jet engine, so that's pretty brutal.
Sorry, it was Syndrome.
Yeah.
Real name Buddy Pine, and he wanted to be Incredible at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was good, and you know, more came out after. So, obviously, a successful franchise. Again, it reminds me of the Avengers, and we'll get into my Marvel movie here in a minute. It reminds me of the Avengers, where like they saved a bunch of people and everyone was pissed off about it. So that was pretty crazy. Like, you saved my life. Here's a cease and desist letter, by the way. I did not want to be saved.
Right. And then they, of course, they come in with the neck brace and the sling and the crutches.
Yeah, it's crazy. So The Incredibles, all right. So if it lands on The Incredible again here on the Wheel Review, you'll have to watch the second one. So that's how we'll play the sequel franchises. I had Iron Man, came out in 2008, Mark. So I was right on that part.
Nice.
This first Iron Man, obviously starring Robert Downey Jr. and Terrence Howard and Jeff Bridges, but we'll get into the Terrence Howard drama here in a second. But this kicked off kind of the like MCU timeline as we know it. It wasn't, again, I think I mentioned this last week, but it's not the first movie you watch if you're going to watch them all the Marvel movies in order, but it is going to be, well, one of the first ones. But it's one of those, you know, Tony Stark, he's obviously a weapons dealer, you know, bombs and missiles and stuff like that. He's a rich playboy, so he's got a lot of money, lives on a mansion on Malibu. He's on like this charter mission, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term. He's overseas in honestly, I don't remember the country, Iraq or Afghanistan, one of those countries. The tank he's in blows up, or a car he's in blows up, and he gets taken hostage in a cave, and he's stuck with this one dude in the cave. Don't remember his name, but Tony Stark got a lot of shrapnel in his chest, so he configures a thing in his chest to keep him alive and keep the shards of shrapnel away from his heart and away from his organs and all that good stuff. But he eventually gets enough parts. They juke the system, if you will, and they kind of point the cameras in a direction where the guys can't really see what they're working on. And so he eventually builds an Iron Man suit. Now this is, I guess, Mark 1, because he calls them all Marks. I think he's at like Mark 57 at this
I
point.
was gonna say he's got to be in the 60s now, right?
Yeah. So this was basically Mark 1. He builds this suit, busts out of the cave, and he saves that other dude's life as well. Kills all the things, flies away. And then Terrence Howard Terrence Howard, who plays Rhodey in this first Iron Man movie. Again, we'll get to the Rhodey situation here in a minute. It's basically Tony Stark's best friend throughout the Iron Man franchise, and they think it's an enemy who flies, and they always have to say it's we're running practice drills. Nothing to see here as Tony hones his skills, making a bunch of Iron Man suits. Again, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, finally perfects it. Nobody knows who Iron Man is at this point. And once he kind of perfects the suit, he goes back and basically bombs the village in Iraq or Kuwait or wherever he was. And he destroys all the missiles that are over there as well, that his company shipped over there by Jeff Bridges, by the way. And Jeff Bridges was also the one who put on the hit on Tony Stark, his partner at Stark Industries. And they find this out. And then Jeff Bridges gets all pissed because he wants a suit now. And one of the employees, he says, if Tony Stark can make this in a cave, why can't you do it? And the guy goes, I'm not Tony Stark, sir.
We got to give respect.
Interestingly enough, that scientist who said that to Jeff Bridges' character winds up in Spider-Man No Way Home as Tobey Maguire's character's accomplice in building all of his technology. That's a whole story for another day, but interesting little Easter egg there. And so Jeff Bridges, they get into an Iron Man suit fight. And of course, obviously, Iron Man, Tony Stark wins, and Jeff Bridges died. I love Jeff Bridges, by the way, in this movie. I mean, he's just a great actor in general. But it seems like whatever guest role they find for like some of these villains, they're always played by a really good actor. So shout out to Jeff Bridges on that. But so obviously Iron Man wins. They have a press conference at the end, and obviously Gwyneth Paltrow is his assistant in the movie, and says, hey, I read the script, bro. And then he goes in there and he says, I am Iron Man. So he gives it away pretty early. And so now everybody knows he's Iron Man. As for the Terrence Howard Rhodey situation, I guess there was a lot of behind the scenes drama that caused this. Marvel wanted to cut his salary for Iron Man 2. While obviously Robert Downey Jr.'s paycheck is going to go up, right. Which, I mean, you're the lead, you're the face of the franchise pretty much. Of course, you're kind of, especially when the first movie does well, you're going to get a lot. So they recast him obviously with Don Cheadle, shout out, George Washington alum, Denver, Colorado. And Don Cheadle's been that character ever since. So kind of Terrence Howard wanted more money, Marvel didn't give it to him, so we now have Don Cheadle as Rhodey, and Don Cheadle's played Rhodey in 5 or 6 different Marvel movies now. So there you go. The first Iron Man. Obviously, being a Marvel nerd, good movie. Again, it was the first one that was made for this MCU timeline, and so it set the bar pretty high. And now we are way down. I mean, 17 years later, Mark, we're moving on to, I guess, bigger and better things. So here we go.
So recommend.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're a superhero person, it's always fun to watch the Marvel movies in order. So if you're a guy like that, I mean, Iron Man, obviously famous comic book as well. So if you're into all that, definitely recommend if you're into that sort of thing. But obviously it kicks off the MCU, so yeah, definitely recommend it.
Love it. Yeah, no, that was one of my favorites too. Plus you gotta just love the smug, quick-witted, quick mouth Robert Downey Jr. character, like just what he can provide for that character. It's not quite like a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool kind of thing, but like it fits, it works. You're not gonna have him without Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. And obviously him and Pepper played by Gwyneth Paltrow. Obviously, they and also this is the movie franchise. It wasn't this one, but this is the movie franchise that Black Widow was introduced as well, Scarlett Johansson's character. So again, you got to watch them in order for a lot of it to make sense. But yeah, the first Iron Man movie in the books.
Like it.
There you go. Have you watched, by the way, the Marvel movies in cinematic timeline order?
No, I have not.
It's kind of nice though, because I will say Disney Plus has it in order for you. You just go down to Marvel and then you go down to timeline order, and they have them all in order for you.
See, I got to do that because I was always the guy that I caught him out in theater, and then once I caught it in theater, it was kind of like, all right, cool, waiting for the next one. But I've always wanted to go back because I don't know how much I missed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't release them in order. You got to kind of go back and if you watch them out of order, obviously you kind of got to put the puzzle pieces together. And obviously you have the end of credit scenes, which could tie a whole nother movie into another movie, and you might miss something. So there's always, most Marvel movies have 2 post-credit scenes, like one right after they'll go out, one right after they list the main cast, and then you got to sit there and watch all the scrollies and all that, and then they'll have another one. Usually the very, very last one after all the credits is either something funny, maybe it's like 10, 15 seconds worth, something funny, or something that really doesn't tie another movie to another one, but there's usually 2 at the end of a Marvel movie. So yeah, and at the end of this one, I think it was this one, I don't remember now, but it's when Nick Fury met with Tony Stark to tell him about the Avengers Initiative. So that was that.
Like it. I like it.
All right. Well, it is time to spin the wheel review. Now, if you're new to the program, we spin a wheel and we will recap a movie or TV show next week. So that's how we came to talk about The Incredibles and Iron Man. So that's how that came to be, as we are ready to spin the wheel of mayhem.
I like it. It's better than the other one.
Yeah. Well, it is technically called the wheel review, but Mark, I don't know who went first last week, so
I don't either.
All right. Well, let me know and I'll hit it for you.
Go ahead. Get at it. See what I end up with this week.
Another movie. Yep, crowd loves it. Crowd enjoys it. All right, after this, we will go to movie genres. Mark, let me know when you're ready.
Hit it.
Obviously, before here, action, comedy, horror, Marvel, madness, sports, and cartoon. Here we go. Oh, you got a sports one.
All right. Perfect time of year.
Yeah. Pumped up for that. All right, let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead, but I will be disappointed with Air Bud.
Wait, Golden Retriever? Oh my God!
Oh no!
You shouldn't have said anything.
I jinxed it.
You shouldn't have said anything.
Well, I guess the first one ain't too bad. I guess.
So the first one is called Air Bud, and then the second one was Golden Receiver or Retriever.
Oh, that's right.
One,
yeah,
the football one. And then I think he played hockey at some point, or soccer or something.
Yeah. he played a few different sports. I'm okay with Air Bud. All right. Okay.
I don't know how he wasn't signed to a deal, but
yeah, or at least given a college scholarship.
Something. All right, here we go. All right, TV show for this week. Yeah.
Crowd loves that.
And here we go. So we got drama, cartoon, comedy, superhero miniseries for TV shows. All right. All right.
Nice, nice. Some fun.
Sheriff Hall. All right, so we got TV comedies now. There's a lot in this wheel, so this will be interesting. I mean, there is so much to choose from.
There really is.
And, just landed on Arrested Development. I'm kind of glad it landed on this, Mark, because I will be honest with you, never seen an episode.
Really? Oh, you'll enjoy it. I liked every episode and every season until the last one, I think.
Really?
Yeah. But a great series. Jason Bateman's funny as hell.
Never seen it.
It's good stuff.
All right, let's spin how many I'm watching here. Ooh, just one?
Just the pilot.
That's actually good. I feel like that's a good thing to land on if you've never seen it.
I agree. It's a good place to start.
All right, so Mark's assignment for next week. I already forgot. Oh, Air Bud. Air Bud. Hey, some clutch free throws in that movie. And I am assigned to watch Arrested Development, the pilot. I'll probably end up watching more if I dig it. So we will see. I'm on season 5 of White Collar. I'll tell you that much. So by the way, if you want to watch White Collar, which I had to watch a couple weeks ago, it leaves Netflix in 13 days, September 30th. So I don't know where it's going after that, but if you were to want to watch that, I would hop on that opportunity probably ASAP, because I don't know how long it's going to take someone to watch all the seasons. But Arrested Development for me and Air Bud. That might be like a wear back type of situation for you, Mark. But
it might be. I'll try and hang in there and grit through it.
At least it's a sports movie, I guess.
That's true.
That. Yeah, and I felt bad for the clown in the movie. Yeah, we'll discuss it next week, and we'll get your thoughts on Air Bud and Arrested Development. Once again, don't forget to go to all of our socials, Facebook, X, and Instagram. You can follow me at SportsJunkie25. You can follow Mark at Marky Sexton on Instagram, at 5280 Sports Life on X. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, 5280 Sports Radio. Thanks for all the comments as well. And thanks, Nick Fergson, for hopping on, give us his NFL and football insight. Once again, this and many pods on the network brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cards as well. Mark, any departing thoughts before we jump on out of here?
Always a blast. Can't wait for next week.
All right, I'm really excited to hear your Air Bud assessment. That's what I'm looking forward to. But that's going to do it for us here on the Mark When on the Mic here on E5280sports.com, Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. For Mark Sexton, I am Michael Spillin. We will talk to you next week.